A rectangular plate of negligible thickness 30 of size 35 mm by 20 mm has a shorter edge in VP with that edge inclined at 40 degrees to HP. Draw the top view if its front view is a square of 20 mm side. A rectangular plate of negligible thickness of 35 mm by 20 mm has a shorter edge in VP. Yes. A edge which is resting on VP has to be perpendicular to VP. So this is very similar to the edge which is resting on HP has to be perpendicular to VP. Similarly, here the edge which is resting on VP has to be perpendicular to HP. So we can see that a shorter edge is the one of the shorter edge, that is the shorter edge is A dash D dash and B dash C dash. Both are the shorter edges which is perpendicular to VP. So when you look from the top view, the image will going to fall on the horizontal plane. Since it is parallel to HP, you can see it is parallel to HP. That is AB, BC, CD and DA all are parallel to HP. So we are getting the true shape in parallel to VP. So we are getting the true shape in vertical plane. When you look from the front view, you can see the rectangle on the vertical plane. Now, when you look from the top view, we can see that it is perpendicular to HP. So obviously in HP, you will going to get a line which is on the XY line because it is on VP. So when you look from the top view, A and B is near to the observer, so it is visible. A and B is visible, and C and D is away from the observer, so it becomes invisible. So within bracket C and D. Now the same thing we are getting in 2D analysis in the orthographic view. First we are going to draw a rectangle of 35 mm by 20 mm such that the shorter edge is perpendicular to HP. Once you get the shorter edge perpendicular to HP, so you can see a point on HP. Now here, when you look from the top view, both A and B are near to the observer, so AB is visible, and C and D is away from the observer, so it becomes invisible. We have to start this problem in the vertical plane, that is basically because he says one of the shorter edges in VP. Since it is VP, so naturally, and also in the top view, draw the top view if its front view is a square of 20 mm side. So naturally, since in the front view it has to be a square of 20 mm side, that means when it is rotated, when this 20 by 35 mm rectangle is rotated such that it will going to become the front view will be 20 mm square. So obviously the initial position has to be on the vertical plane, because once you rotate with respect to the vertical plane only, then you will going to get the position of the front view of 20 mm side. But since it is perpendicular to HP, so we can see the inclination of the surface on the horizontal plane. Now, resting on one of the shorter edges, we draw the top and front views if a square of side 20 mm. So you can see here the initial position of the rectangular lamina of 20 mm by 35 mm when it is parallel to VP. It was the true shape was in the vertical plane. Now it is rotated such that the front view will go to become a square. You can see here the projected surface when it is rotated such that this is the position of the rotation such that the square, the front view will go to become a square. You can see here the A dash, B dash, C dash, D dash is a 20 mm square. The front view is rotated till it becomes a square of 20 mm side. So this is how the surface inclination will go into take. So but still, since the surface is inclined to VP, and we can see the surface of our 20 mm square in the front view when you look from the front view. But when you look from the top view, since the surface is perpendicular to VP, so you are getting a line in the horizontal plane. So when you look from the top view, D is near to the observer, it is visible, and C is away from the observer, so it is in bracket. Similarly, A is near to the observer, so it is visible, and D is away from the observer, so D becomes invisible. So it can be seen here. So this is how we are in the second position. First what we have to do is we have to rewrite the First you draw the parallel line and then you construct the square of 20 mm side and keep B and C on the vertical plane and rotate, draw a vertical projector and take the distance and cut it here, so that you will going to get the inclination with respect to VP. Then you can such that the front view is going to become a square of 20 mm side. That is what we have written. Draw the top view. Draw the top view. If its front view is a square of 20 mm side. So first we have to write the front view of 20 mm square. Then by considering one of the sides on vertical plane and the other one is the in front of VP, so you can see AD is the edge which is in front of VP by some distance, such that it becomes a square of 20 mm side in the front view. The edge, with that edge is inclined at 40 degrees to HP, so which is the edge which is make an angle of 40 degrees to HP. So the edge which is resting on VP, so which is the edge which is resting on VP, which is BC. You can see that B dash C dash is the edge which is inclined at 40 degrees to VP. So this is the direction of rotation, such that we can see when it is projected. So this will going to be the direction of projection on when you see from the front view. The image will going to be falls on the vertical plane, so which will be A dash, D dash, C dash and B dash. This is the final sketch what you get here, which is that edge is inclined at 40 degrees to HP. And correspondingly the top view will going to be like this. So this is how you will be able to get this solution. So this is 3D analysis. So in the final sketch also you can see that BC is still resting on VP. Now we are going to solve this problem by using the final solution by using the sketchbook. So first we are going to draw the XY line and mark XY and VP and HP. He says a square rectangular lamina of 20 mm by 35 mm is resting on one of the shorter edges, such that the front view is a square of, draw its projection when the front view is a square of 20 mm and the edge on which it rests is inclined to VP at inclined to HP at 40 degrees. Now first we want to keep the rectangle in the front view, because the lamina is rotated such that the front view is become a square of 20 mm side. So obviously we have to start, the initial position has to start from the vertical plane. And also the condition given is one of the shorter edges in VP. So obviously that shorter edge has to be on the vertical plane. The shorter edge which is on the vertical plane has to be perpendicular to HP. Then only we can see a point in HP. Now here take the initial position as draw a rectangle of 20 by 35 mm in the vertical plane with some distance above horizontal plane at any convenient distance. Then mark the points as A dash, B dash, C dash and D dash. Then draw a vertical projector from A dash and D dash and draw a vertical projector from B dash and C dash to the XY line. And when you look from the top view, A and B is near to the observer, so A and B is visible, and when it is C dash and D dash is away from the observer, so that becomes in bracket. Now draw a dark line between A and B. It will going to be, since all the sides are parallel to VP, so you are getting the true shape in the vertical plane, and two of the shorter edges are perpendicular to HP, so obviously in HP you are going to get a point, so which is AD and BC. So it is resting on one of the shorter edges on VP, so we can rest one of the shorter edge, either it can be on A dash D dash or we can be on B dash C dash, but we are resting on BC, so take any convenient position and mark this point as B and C. Let it be, mark this point as BC. So from this point you draw a vertical projector to the front view, then draw a horizontal projector from here, so that you will going to get this side, which will going to be B dash C dash. Then the front view will going to become a square of 20 mm side. From here you measure 20 mm and draw a square here. Once you draw a square and then mark the points A dash, B dash, C dash and D dash. So now we are written the front view. Now we have to write the top view. So the front view is a square. So this front view is a square because when the top view of the lamina is rotated by some angle. So what is that angle? We need to find out. So draw a vertical, since B dash C dash is resting on VP, so obviously the BC will be on HP. So that point which is parallel to VP. Then draw a vertical projector from A dash D dash to in front of VP. Then you measure the distance from B to A by using the compass with B as center. Cut an arc on this vertical projector where it will going to cut this point and mark that point as AD and join A to B or B to A with a dark line. So this will going to be the top view when the front view becomes a square of 20 mm side. And the edge which is resting on VP is inclined at 40 degrees to HP. So which is the edge which is resting on VP? That is BC. And since B and C both are parallel to VP, so we are getting the true length here. B dash C dash is in true length. Since the inclination is given is also true inclination, so write the second position front view in the third position such that it is rotated at an angle of 40 degrees. Consider any point and then draw a horizontal line, and then through that point you draw a line which is inclined at 30 degrees to HP, 40 degrees to HP. Then measure the length from C dash to B dash with C dash as center. Cut an arc on this line. You are going to get this B dash. Then through B dash and C dash you draw perpendiculars because these two are at 90 degrees. So by using the protractor you measure an angle of 90 degree with respect to the B dash C dash and draw a perpendicular line. Similarly with C dash as center, measure an inclination of 90 degrees with respect to B dash C dash and then draw a perpendicular line. Then by using the compass with C dash as center, take the radius of C dash D dash and also B dash A dash, both will going to have the same length. With C dash as center, cut an arc on this line, and also with B dash as center, cut an arc on this. So mark the points as D dash and D dash. Then draw a square of 20 mm side such that it is rotated at an angle of 40 degrees. So join between A dash to B dash, B dash to C dash, C dash to D dash and D dash to A dash with a dark line. So then draw a vertical projector from the A dash to the top view and draw a horizontal projector from A to intersect at this point and mark that point as A. And similarly draw a vertical projector from B dash and draw a horizontal projector from B. It will go to intersect at this point and mark this point as B. Then draw a vertical projector from C dash and draw a horizontal projector from C to intersect at this point. You mark the point as C and draw a vertical projector from D dash and draw a horizontal projector from D. It will go to intersect at this point and name the point as D. Then join A to B, B to C, C to D and D to A. This will go to complete the top view. Now, so this will going to be the final solution what we expect to be written in this sketchbook. So a square lamina, a rectangular lamina of 20 mm by 30 mm is resting on one of these sides on VP, and such that the lamina is rotated such that the front view becomes a square of 20 mm side, and the side which is resting on VP is inclined at 40 degrees to HP. So which is the side which is resting on VP, which is BC, and that side is now parallel to VP and perpendicular to HP. You make that line inclined at 40 degrees to HP. So once you do that, so you are going to get the corresponding top view. So this is how, since we have satisfied all the conditions which were given in the problem, and hence the problem is right.